All right. So then, what is beauty in your opinion?
Um, that I think is much harder to answer
Mm.
because it's so personal. Yeah, it's gonna be.
Because it's personal, you said?
Yeah, I think that
Okay.
one is it's much more. It just carries so much kind of like personal history, like what somebody would find beautiful. And that's much harder to kind of like. It's harder to grasp.
Mm.
I think it changes all the time as well, right? Like you may find I don't know, the smell of cabbage disgusting. But let's say you met somebody who loved cabbage and they ate cabbage all the time, and then they died in a tragic car accident, and then you would smell cabbage and you would be like,
Fondly remembering
"That's
them.
beautiful to me." Yeah. So
Mm. Yeah,
now I'm
yeah.
really on a tangent. But I think that's so much more difficult. And obviously, there are things that are like, somehow our eye is drawn to aesthetically to certain things that are beautiful, like Mila Jovovich's face is beautiful.
Yes.
Come on, look at that. The proportions,
Mm-hmm.
insane, right?
Yes.
Anyways, a moment of silence. But there are some things that are just universally just aesthetically like you're drawn to them. But then there's so much of it that's like color, that's like personal. I guess people as you go through your life experience and stuff, like then it becomes a lot more varied because you pick up different things, different nuances, appreciation of like what you would find beautiful. Like at least for me as well, like even from the more shallow things like aesthetics, like people that I find good looking,
Mm.
like over time that has evolved so
Mm-hmm.
much
Mm-hmm.
because I guess you notice different things, you then associate certain things with people that you've known or experiences that you've gone through. And so that whole kind of like concept of beauty, which is like I guess the visual thing that you're drawn to. So maybe cabbage smell was a very bad example, but somebody looks like a cabbage.
Mm.
Some kind of like like a weird hairstyle that you feel like, oh my god, like never again. And then somebody that you love and then has that hairstyle, you're like, okay. Something like that is, I think it just, yeah, it's hard. It's hard. And I think I always think about, in a way, when it comes to like creating visual art, like I think it's, in a way, it's harder to kind of like capture that idea of beauty, like because of all the things that the viewer might have in their mind that could color that.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, like you would think, oh, uncontroversial, here's a beautiful, technically very accomplished painting of like a beautiful sunset. But some people might look at that and be like, that is boring. Actually it's more difficult than, let's say, if you think about um how do you call like singing or music, especially singing. And we've seen that on one of those, like, this is such a bad example. Now I'm seriously rambling. Stop me if it goes too far. But let's say a talent show or something, where there are all these talent shows on TV, and then you get all these people doing like, I don't know, like a dance troupe, and there's a circus person, whatever. And then you get somebody comes on and they sing a song, and it moves people. I think somehow
Mm.
that connection is easier with music in some way, especially when it's like when there's words and stuff, because I guess it's something that everybody does,
Mm.
right? That needs, or people need to do in general. Most people, able-bodied people and stuff. But whereas art, like visual art, that's different. Like it's a bit more of a, I guess maybe that's in a way, um, never thought about it that way. We all see, but it's colored by a lot of different things. And I think that the concept of beauty can be much wider than in other disciplines to some extent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely am inclined to agree that beauty is a little bit more difficult to, or might be a bit more difficult to define than, or I don't know, to try to even pinpoint than art.
Mm.
Because, thanks to Marcel Duchamp and everything, basically anything can be art, but then it's a beauty is like, I don't know, like almost the opposite. I don't know, in a way, sort of. um, so, what role would you say beauty plays in your own artistic endeavors, if it has a role? Does it have a role? And in that case, like how would you say beauty relates to when you try to make stuff or do stuff with the silks?
Yeah, I think so I'll talk about the art stuff first. I think, to be honest, like my art is not controversial. It's quite pretty looking. Um I think what I like try and achieve when it comes to the sort of visual aspect of it is I don't know. I guess it's like little nuances and stuff like contrast of color. I really get like stuck in, I get stuck into my work when I'm doing it, and I think some of it probably even gets a bit lost in translation, especially when I was doing portraits. Like I would be thinking an emotion of the